Hello, we are going to be talking about ethics in your business, how to be ethical, transparent, how to do the right thing. As I know that's important to so many of you, so I just want to give a few minutes for people to join, but I want you to know what we are going to be talking about today. So, ethics is just such an important topic to me. Um, it's just something that, either I really want to feel like sits right with me. The things that I'm doing, I want them to feel good for me. And of course, sometimes we need to do some of our work, our internal healing work, when we have different fears or beliefs that might be, causing us to hold back. But ultimately, the things I'm going to share with you today, I feel like are the best way to go about running an ethical business, a transparent business, one that's really heart centered, client focused, and really helps all of us. Um, so I wrote a couple posts about this, and a lot of what I'm sharing with you today comes from personal experiences. So, a little bit about the history. I love me some coaching. I really do because I've spent a lot of money on coaching. I've really invested, and I've done a big box group coaching program. So when I say that, I use that term a lot. That means like when it's a pretty famous level coach where they like rent out like a ballroom and, for 3 days, get you with a group of people, get you really excited, get you into your problem and awareness and all that, and then sell you into something that's like a really big program where a lot of times you don't actually have that touch point with that coach anymore. And I've done that not once, but twice. And I've also coached privately with a coach one-on-one. So some of this stuff I'm sharing with you today is from my personal experience through those various channels, and also some of it is from the experience that I've been witness to or privy to from people that have been coming onto discovery calls with me, things that they share with me, hesitations that they have about investing with me and investing in themselves to do more coaching because of something that's happened with a prior coach or something that a prior coach either did to them or was encouraging them to do that just didn't feel right, felt icky and not in alignment. And sometimes I'm like, seriously, like fucking shocked that this stuff is happening out there. And that's why I want to talk about it, because I want us to put an end to it. It doesn't help anyone. It's not serving any of us. It's definitely not serving clients. And, as an industry as a whole, like you see how, like, just even that example of somebody coming to a call with me, I think, like, for the most part, I'm trying to do, for the most part. But no, seriously, for all the parts, I'm trying my best. I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm trying my best to do the right thing. And somebody's coming into my world and they have a hesitancy about enrolling or moving forward. That's not just going to happen when that person has a call with me. That's going to happen when that person has a call with anyone for any facet of their business or life that they're looking to get some help with or improve, right? So they're going to have that distrust and that hesitation. So I said this in one of my posts, like, we're only as good, we are only as like ethical and like up here leveling up as the least ethical person amongst us, right? So this, I don't want this to sound like I was in a sorority in college, and we'd have chapter meetings on like a Sunday night, and during the week we'd have to do different things, right? And so they have like a highway cleanup, or go and volunteer with the local school kids, like after school, things like that. And so we had to do these activities, and then I'd go and show up, do my part, and I would show up and there'd be like 4 people there. And then Sunday night, the president of the chapter would be like, guys, speaking to a room of 80 women, you guys didn't show up to the volunteer thing. And I would always feel like, but I showed up and now I'm sitting here. Not only did I show up, but I'm getting the lecture, right? So that's not what this is meant to sound like at all. I know if you're here, you really care about doing these things and doing them right. And so I just want to empower you. And I know that that's going to just trickle out into the world, and it's going to be something that you can implement and lead by example, and that how to have conversations if you see something, and see something, say something. But if you do feel like saying something, you can offer, hey, maybe you can do it this way. because I think that would be helpful not only to you and your business and your client, but all of us. All right, so I see a couple people on. Let me know who's here with me. Say hi in the chat. I'm going to get the chat going. Hopefully I'll be able to see. And yeah, so I want to talk about ethics in 3 areas of your business. And to me, these are the core foundational things within your business. And so they are marketing, sales, and operations. So I'm going to be looking over to the side because that's where my notes are. I think this is my first live in the Hoboken apartment. I am headed to California on Sunday, so we will have a new setup there, but I think it's one that you guys are familiar with because I have been in the California apartment before. Anyways, I don't know if I can't see you guys saying hi. It might be one of those situations, but if you're here, please say hi. Oh, here, great. Hi, Tanya. Awesome. Graciela, yay. Okay, I'm so glad that Graciela's here. Well, this is stuff that we've talked about in depth. All right, so I'm going to be looking off to the side, looking at my notes. So marketing. So first thing with marketing. First off, I just want to say that gone are the days of the marketing tactics from 5 years ago. You know, where it's like, come to the workshop to get the secret this, and I have a secret, and I'm going to like keep all this hidden from you. Like, I feel like those days are over. The quick fix, the empty promises, the overnight promises, people are not really buying that anymore, right? So you're not doing your business any favors even if you're going to try to do those things. To me, everything these days is about transparency and relationship building. And your marketing is your chance to have great relationship building. Every post you put out there is creating a relationship with the person who's reading it on the other end. You may not know them, but like you're setting the tone for that relationship. So be transparent, be yourself, you know, be real, like very straightforward and clear about what you do and who you're for. I think that's like the biggest thing that will help everyone through all of this is that if you're speaking to the right person and you really delineate between I am for this person and I am not for this person, you're less likely to get the person who you're not for to come into your world and invest with you. And yes, there's other things we'll talk about in a second that will help that person from coming in, right? You do a discovery call, you do like, you know, an interview with them, so you make sure that they're the right person to come in the door. But if you clearly speak to the person that you're for and clearly like know who they are, know what their problem is, and you like say, I'm not for these people, right? Then you're going to have a much happier person and a person who is equipped and in the right place to come into your container to get the results from you, right? So a lot of like what we see in like the unethical stuff is like literally just bringing somebody in that's not a right fit for you because they're not going to get the results. And 9 times out of 10, that's usually because somebody is like, oh my gosh, I can't say no to this person. They're overreaching, they're overstepping their boundaries. They haven't asked the appropriate questions. They may see something that's like maybe should be handled by a mental health care professional or trauma that they're not equipped, they're not a trauma informed person. Do not overstep. And I'm going to say it, and it's like raunchy and gross, but do not overstep because you want the money. It's just not right. It's going to, you're going to end up working with that person and you're going to feel so gross. I got to turn off this heat thing. Oh, it makes so much noise. You're going to feel gross and you're going to feel like out of your element the whole time that you're working with them. And that's really going to put a drain on your energy as well. And it's not going to be helpful for you to grow your business. And then when you're not in a good place, you're not going to be able to write great copy and you're not going to be able to show up and serve all the rest of your clients. So start from the beginning and be really clear on who you're speaking to. So once we are really clear about who we're speaking to, a lot of times what happens is we can get really into identifying their problem, right? We create the avatar and we're like, these are all their problems. And then what I see a lot of times is that clients have hesitation to talk about the results that they provide, right? And so the marketing actually isn't that effective because it ends up being like low vibe, right? If we're only connecting with the problems, we're going to get that person that's like, that's me, that's my problem. We want to make sure we're getting people that are like aspirational. And so the biggest way to do that is to talk about the results. But this is where I see people getting a little oversteppy with communicating and sharing client results. So obviously, the best way to share a client result is let the client tell you it, right? But if you're in the beginning growth stages of your business, I personally am against gathering testimonials until a container is finished. So if you're working with somebody for 3 months, get that testimonial at the end. I think it's really kind of icky and dicey when people start collecting testimonials like 3 weeks into working with somebody because they had some like breakthrough or they got a client. First off, not that much of your container has time-wise has gone by. So it's really hard to kind of take a lot of credit for something that's like, only happened a few weeks in. Granted it happens, and a large amount of times, like when something like that happens, that overnight success, or that person, enrolled with me and the next day they got, a $10,000 client. That's really about your client's energy. It's not really about your coaching. So I would not even, claim that. Yes, that can be a great thing to share about a person empowering themselves and making a decision and deciding, and then that their energy is what shifted and created those results for you, for them, sorry. But that's really something that you should not be taking credit for. So testimonials are great. Let the client use their own words, let the client share, but really collecting that at the end of the relationship together. So if you are in the midst of working with them and you do want to share about some results that they're getting, I would really advise that you ask their permission. And, if I'm writing something that's very specific about a client, like I want to use their name and I want to tell a little bit of the background, I'm actually going to even send that copy to them and ask them if they're okay. So with me sharing. The reason that I do this that's like so important is because I had a situation where, like, when my business was growing a lot, a coach was really sharing a lot about what was happening in my business. So they were like, my client this, she's blowing up, she has this many more clients and stuff like that. And I felt kind of used. I felt like I wasn't consulted. I felt sort of like, I was doing a lot of work, and they were kind of like taking the credit. And I get that, like, it's helpful for their business. But it just felt like a little bit overkill, especially when I knew that coach was like really showing off a lot of like their top percentage of clients. And, there were like 60 other people they weren't speaking about. So to me, that's like misleading. I also want to be really clear about celebrating all types of results from clients, right? So you guys, like, I just finished with a client 6 months. She did not get a new client, but we did a lot of really deep internal work for her, right? So really got her like breaking her patterns, the way that she sabotaged herself, the way she believed things were possible for herself. That is just as valuable to me. Like, to me, not like getting a new client and me like, hammering her home. She has existing clients that she's working with, so her business is continuing to go, but like me like getting on her and being like, get the new client, that would never serve her in the long term, right? So right now it's really about getting her to a place where she feels really good about herself, that she feels deserving and worthy. And that was the focus of our work. And everybody's going to come into my container at a different level, right, of self-awareness or self-work or depth of how many incidences contributed to the way they're feeling about themselves. So I'm celebrating her as much as I'm celebrating a client that just finished with me 2 weeks before her that made like $25,000 on a brand new business, right? So all of it to me is valuable, and I want us to really start talking about the range of the results that are possible for our clients so that they have clear expectations of what can happen as well. Let me know if this is resonating for you guys. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you another thing is really like telling the full story, right? When we share client results, where was the client when they started? What was the work that they had to do? What was the work they did with you? What was the work they did outside of the container, with somebody else? What was the amount of personal work they put in? Because every client's starting at a different stage, like I mentioned, right? So it's really hard to be like, oh, my client hit 10K, consistently, and not talk about like, oh, well, they also have been doing this for 5 years, or they also have a huge network of their ideal client already in place. right? So everybody's starting at a different level, and you really want to show the transformational journey. So don't just reduce this down to bullet points. Really show the whole story. I think that's really as transparent and beneficial as we can be. What are you guys thinking? Let me know how this is landing. And another thing I want to talk about is, this was done to me, so bullet points, right? Bullet points are really powerful to be like, hey, here's, especially like if you do a group container. We're just wrapping up the multiplier, our last calls tonight, and I can talk about, the results of the people inside of the multiplier. And again, like, I want to celebrate all different types of results. And when I'm doing the bullet points and I'm like, oh, this person had another, double digit month 2 months in a row that they never hit yet in their business. And then, oh, this person booked 5 more clients. And then this person launched their group program. And if I'm just bullet pointing that and been like, five figure 2 months in a row and 5 new clients and group launch program, and I don't, like, I've seen this happen before because, when someone's talking about your business, you know who you are. If all 3 of those bullets are the same person, that's a big fucking no. Okay? So make sure that you don't use one person in your client database and just show off their results, and show them off in a way that implies that more people within your container, your business, are getting those results. I just think it's so incongruent, right? Just tell the case study. Just really get like a nice long story of start to finish. If that person's getting all 3 of those bullet points, just tell that person's story, right? We want to be aspirational. We want to show people what's possible, but we don't want to be misleading and be like, hey, every person that comes into this container gets these blockbuster results. Because what's going to happen, I'm telling you, is that you will keep attracting the person who is so fixated on the result and thinks that you're the magic maker and that you're like the person who could just go in and like be like, psh, psh, psh. And the reality is, all of this work, I don't care if you're using NLP, tapping, somatics, theta healing, whatever your modality is, it doesn't work if the other person isn't bringing it 100% too, right? So the other person needs to do a lot of the heavy lifting, the 2 sessions with you or the 1 call a week. Don't set somebody up to think that like that's all they need to make the miracle, right? Coaching is amazing. I've, really appreciated my coaching experience and the container that a coach can hold for me and show me what to level up to. But it's ultimately up to me to go out there and do all of the work. And it's the same thing for your clients. And so if you start like just kind of screaming from the rooftops about results, and don't tell the full story of how much work it takes for that client to do it, you're going to keep attracting the wrong type of clients. And then things are going to get heavy. And then you're not going to like things, right? All right, just reading some of the comments. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Alyssa. Tanya's resonating with all this. All right, so that's what I got for marketing, for the kind of external client facing. I want to move into sales, right? So ethics in sales, transparency in sales. Again, some of the things that I have seen out there are some of the like coach trauma or like snake oil sales stuff that's like happened for people when they come and have a call with me, and it really prevents them from being able to stand in their power and make a decision. They don't trust themselves, they don't trust me or anyone else as a provider. So we want to give them a different experience, guys, and it's not like just giving them the respect and like empowering them to make a decision without using any sleazy tactics, right? We don't have to be like, I mean, I've had it done to me where they're like, I had somebody like yell at me. I told them I would like, could I follow up with them the next day? And when I did and said no, they were like, why would you waste my fucking time? And I was like, whoa, okay, totally called this right. Did not want to go into that container at all. It was like total bro stuff, trying to do like LinkedIn. All right, so we want to be in a call, we really want to hold the space for somebody, and we want to ask empowering questions for them to be able to make this decision for themselves. And we can do that without any pressure. I never, I want to set somebody up to make a decision on the phone, but it's okay if they don't. It's totally okay if they need to go talk to their spouse, or they need to go sleep on it, or they need to look at their finances. We want to give people the space to be able to do that. And, I teach this inside of the multiplier. I teach this to my private clients. What is that process and how we facilitate that and how we hold this masculine? This is where we can actually use masculine energy really nicely to create a safe, solid framework container so people are like, oh, this is the expectation. This is the clarity around it. This is the follow up around it. And giving them then the space and the feminine energy in the room inside of that container that we create for them as a means of safety, not as a means of pressure, right? So we want to just create it there because you feel safe when you're being taken care of. That's what masculine energy does, right? If you look at it from the perspective of like the bottle is the masculine energy and the water is the feminine energy that flows between it. We always feel good and that we can flow freely and connect with like our hearts and our space if we're being held in that container. So the sales call is a nice balance of masculine and feminine energies. I want to discourage anybody from using anything that feels like pressure from false pressure, right? External pressure, anything that's like, oh, this is running out, or I'm raising my prices, or there's so many more people knocking on my door. Like, don't do that to people, all right? What we want to talk more about is internal pressure, right? Them giving up on their dreams, them not believing in themselves, how much longer do they want to wait, like things like that, really holding that space and not doing it in an icky, sleazy way, but being like, yeah, let's talk about this. Like, has this been happening before, and how has that been serving you, and how has that not been serving you, and do you want to continue on that? And some people, yeah, that's what they want. They want to continue in their old stories, and that's okay. We can hold a powerful space, we can help coach them and elevate them, but we're not there to convince them or prove anything to them. So give a little bit of that space in your sales calls so that they're not full of pressure and they don't feel gross. You're going to feel so much better if you just come to that call thinking of it as the first session with you, right? Because for many of us that do the type of work that we do, a first session is kind of like a download of like what's going on for that person, so we know best how to help them. I have a kickoff session, whether you're in the multiplier or your private client. I do the same thing with everyone to just figure out what's going on. And so just think of that in the sales call. Like, this is just an opportunity for you to meet somebody who totally knows what you're about. They've been reading your marketing. They're ready to have this call with you. You've put in the steps that I teach to get them ready for the call, and then you just show up and sort of detach with, from what's going to happen. And so that's my advice for sales calls that I think really help them be transparent, clear. I always say like clear is, and clarity is kindness. Being clear is being kind, right? So we can do sales in a really kind way that we're just really clear. Hey, this is what you get. This is what you get at this level. This is what's possible. I really think I can help you based on what you shared. Being clear and standing in our authority, but without any pressure. And also, guys, just making sure that there's a clear space to be having this call. This has happened, like somebody that just finished privately with me ended up enrolling in the multiplier, and we had chatted. She knew I was like doing the waitlist launch, and I was like, okay. She's like, well, do you want to talk about it at the end of our session? And I was like, yes, but I was very clear that I booked a separate time right after our session. Do not, if you're in my sphere, we know I teach like how to bring people through your ecosystem, how to bring them from one product to another so that they can get the specific coaching they need at this level. And then when they get the things that you implement there's room for them to grow into the next suite. That's something that really helps build your business organically, and something that I teach. But as we're bringing people over, do not take up their session time to be a sales call or to be a decision-making enrollment call for the next thing. Really create a separate space for that. So honor the time that they've paid you to have access to you for their session. All right, so I think that's all I got for sales. Let me know, do you guys have any questions? You can drop them in the chat. Let me know how this is resonating. I'm going to get into the last bit in just a second. Let me know how things are hitting over there. I know that there's a few of you here. I love seeing all of you come in. I love being with you. I definitely am going to do some more training. I have some stuff coming up on value ladders, and I've got a really awesome class for January planned that would be specifically for someone who's been in business for a few years, and just some of the shifts that I'm seeing in the market and how to allow yourself to shift as your business is shifting and the market's shifting. All right, awesome. Graciela is loving it. All right, last piece that I'm going to talk about, so we've gone through marketing, we've gone through sales, and the last piece is the business itself, right? Running the actual business, our operations. And so that includes, the way we work with clients, delivering the value and the actual work with clients. Okay, so I just want to pause because Tanya has a question, and she says, is there anything that you think we shouldn't say during a sales call? I would have to say like that. The list is probably pretty huge for what you should not say in a sales call, right? I just think that sticking a little bit more, posing the question the other way around, like what you should say in a sales call. So I think it's really your opportunity to ask a lot of good questions, to understand the person, understand their expectation, have them be in a really empowered place to make the decision, be really clear on what it is that they're investing in, like being really clear about the journey, the results, the features of it, the logistics of it, the price of it. So really being clear on all of that. And then, when they do have like objections, like really getting to the bottom of like what those specific objections are about. So I would say that just be really clear, be really transparent, really open the space, work on your energy before the call, and that will help you from saying anything that you're not supposed to say. Then you can feel really aligned with yourself and really tuned into the other person and have a really nice, like empathetic, like not empathic, but well, some of you are empaths, so you probably will feel a little bit of your clients too, but an empathetic conversation where you can really hold the space and understand them and connect with them and help them feel seen and validated and understood. Eve's got a question. Do you offer courses for people who haven't started a business yet? Eve, I do not. I will have a passive product that will be a recording of most of the stuff that I teach in detail that will really help you learn, because I'm really getting to the point within my own practice that I'm seeing the difference between a client who has a clear vision, who has a business up and running, has an audience, has a social media presence, an email list, clients that they're working already with, and testimonials and things like that are really a lot of the magic. And so I feel that with clients that are just starting out, that are just launching a business, you are more in the phase where teaching would serve you more than coaching. So where it's time for you to learn some of the strategies and go and start to put them in place, because a coach is really there to like kind of amplify what you're already doing and help you reflect your power back to you and help you to make decisions for your own business. And I find that in the beginning, when there isn't clarity around the vision or how to, or you're executing things for the first time, that's more of teaching. So you can watch this space for when I'm going to start putting some of that stuff out there and work through that course and then start to implement some of it and then maybe come into coaching. I think that's the best use of your resources of time and energy and money. Hope that helps. See how ethical that was, guys? I was like, no, you know what? This is probably better for you. This might serve you better. I just did that the other day too with someone who wanted to come into Multiplier based on their income level. I'm like, you're just not there. And I really can pinpoint, because she's kind of, I've been in her world, she's in my world, I've seen some of her work. I'm like, I can pinpoint this, and this that might want to address that, and let's do a breakthrough session at a much lower price point and much less time investment. Go implement those things, see how it changes your business, and then come back to me and maybe you'll be ready for like the next round of the multiplier or something else, right? So really respecting where somebody is. That person particularly, what they told me was that they felt like what was a trauma response in their body when they thought about the investment. And so I don't want anyone coming into my world where they feel that much nervousness about the investment. I want them to feel really good and empowered and like ready to go. All right, operations. Back to operations. Reminds me of that game. I miss my nieces. Operation, when you used to like pick out the little body parts. I loved that game. Did you guys know I wanted to be a doctor for almost my whole life? And then when I was 16, I went and worked in the emergency room at a major trauma center. And I did like it for the traumas. I didn't like it for all of the sickness and the socioeconomic, like using the hospital as the main means of going to a doctor. I didn't have the right mentors, and I really just got disenfranchised with medicine. But I do feel like I guess I ultimately found my calling back to really helping people. So life works in mysterious ways, maybe on the next round. All right, so operations, not the game, not what's going on in the hospital, but what's going on in your business, working with your clients. And what I want to talk about is the ethics around working with your clients. Being really clear, again, clarity, really being clear on the communication, the boundaries, the responsibilities between you and a client, having a contract, guys. I ran my business like the wild, wild west for a while, so I didn't have a contract. Now I got a contract, right? So laying out what's included in your contract, what are the means of communication. My contract explicitly says I do not coach in DMs, right? So being clear on that. And I've seen this happen time and again when your business starts to grow and you've sort of given away the farm at the beginning and you're like, yeah, you have 24-hour Voxer access and, I'll read this and I'll review that. And all of a sudden you've given too much, which actually comes from like a place of like, not feeling worthy of the price point or not feeling like you clearly communicated the ROI on the investment of working with you. And so you start adding all these extra features. That's definitely something that I coach people through and would help them with in the multiplier as well. Like, don't give it all, like don't keep adding to it, right? Because you're going to put yourself in a place where you can't deliver. And then as you keep getting more clients, you're going to be like overwhelmed. You're actually not going to be able to run operationally the other part of your business, which is the growing of your business through the marketing and the sales, right? So you want to make sure that you give like an appropriate exchange for the investment and the time. And if you have already promised something to somebody, you got to fulfill it, right? So I've had that be like, oh, well, I don't really do that anymore. It's like, what? Like you started doing that at the beginning. That was one of the reasons I invested with you. And now, 3 months in, because you have brought on 10 other clients, you don't want to do that anymore. That is not kosher, guys, right? So we can help that situation and we can be like, hey, this is the use of that Voxer access. And this is how I would like you to use Voxer. I would like you to be really intentional. I would like you to not leave voice notes more than 2 minutes. It's things like that. We can help coach people on how to use the features that we've given to them. But once we give them, laid out in a contract, we've got to fulfill those things. Don't backpedal on that. All right, and the last piece I'm going to say is if it's not in alignment, let it go. Okay? So sometimes we have the enrollment call, and that's our chance to really suss out whether somebody is the right fit for us or they're a fit for our program. And they might have not told us the whole situation. They may have been on best behavior. We may have been distracted for whatever reason. Don't come to calls distracted, but it can happen, right? Maybe like we didn't see something clearly at that point in time. And we could end up in a contractual agreement with somebody that it's just not working. It's oil and water. They're not going to get the results. You're not happy. They're not happy. It's an energy drain, all of that good stuff. And have your contracts written up by your lawyer to protect you so that you can release a client, right? So release a client, say, I'm going to give you back, Graciela loves the no voice note over 2 minutes. Yeah, because otherwise they're just rambling. They haven't come to it with clear intention. They should like work through those thoughts for themselves and then come and ask you a specific question. Maybe they give you like, a minute of background, but then they're like, here's the question, here's what I want. So really putting the power back to them to use that in the best way possible. So that, I love that Graciela is here because, so I'm going to actually talk a little bit about what's up. So if you don't feel like things are in alignment in the container, your contract should protect you to be able to release the client, okay? So as the provider, you have the power on your end to release them and just lovingly let them go. Be like, hey, I'm going to return to you like the unused portion of the investment that you made with me. And, this just isn't working. Call it what it is. Create lines of communication within your client relationship that they can be like, hey, this isn't working for me, or I didn't like this, that they can come to you with upward feedback. And when they do that, guys, please maintain your professionalism, because I've given upward feedback after I was told that it was acceptable and fine to do, and then I went ahead and did it, and I was gaslit and told that they took it personally. They didn't answer my question for over 5 days when I was in the middle of a launch. So it just was like they let their personal stuff get in the way of delivering the contractual stuff, right? So if it's not working, make sure that you have clear channels that people can talk to. And then if you do receive that, take it like a professional, right? Things are going to happen along the way. It's not a matter of us avoiding them. It's a matter of how we respond to them. Okay? So I will say last bit, because Graciela is here and I love having her here. Graciela and I talked about working together in August. We had a call. She's about coming into Multiplier. Wasn't a fit for her. She wanted to do one-on-one coaching. She put down a deposit. We're going to start in the new year. And both of us weren't really feeling as aligned as my business continued to grow in the fourth quarter and her business continued to grow in the fourth quarter. And she came to me and she said, hey, Jackie, I'm not really knowing if you're the best next step. You know what, guys? I was like, hey, I feel the same way. I didn't force it. I gave her deposit back. So I know we have contracts in place. I know there's things that like protect us as a coach, but I really still also feel that ethically, doing the right thing is not forcing somebody. So I want to be really clear about this. This was before the container even started. And I also want to be clear that when you're in a container with somebody and it's not feeling right, that you as the expert can determine whether it's not feeling right because it's just organically not a match, or is it not feeling right because we need to make a breakthrough, or we need to keep doing a couple more sessions for this person to have a shift in perspective, or the person's not doing their work. That's different than it's just organically not a match, right? So I don't want you to be like, hey, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to let every client go. Sometimes not letting the client go is the thing that serves the client. I want to make sure you guys got that. Sometimes not letting them go is the thing that serves the client. If you, in your purest intention and in your most expert position, can be like, this is what's going on, and you can lovingly reflect that back to them and be like, this is why, things right now may not be working out, or you may not be seeing the results, or this is making it really difficult to coach you or to help you through this transformation. And that is a learning opportunity for that client to choose differently in this situation. If they're doing it inside your container, they're probably doing it in other areas of their life. So sometimes it is about having those tough conversations and holding the space and helping them through that, because I've had clients say this to me. They're like, Jackie, no one was willing to go there with me before. Nobody, like, they knew that I had this, and this, but they weren't able to like really help me face it. And so we want to always like put our client's best interest first. Sometimes that's letting them go, and sometimes that means holding on and holding that professional space and having those tough conversations. All right, that's it, guys. Graciela, thank you. She says you're such an example of transparency, and I love it. And you're in it for the long haul, and it shows. I'm totally in it for the long haul. I'm really, really about not, the quick shit, the like flashy numbers, the clickbait, the, using of people in the marketing. Really, my coach, the reason I work with her right now, so this is like my fourth coach in the last like 3 years. And, she said it to me in our session the other day. She's like, I'm calling it now. In 3 years, like the only businesses that are going to be left are the ones that have a heartbeat. And I want you guys to think about that. Think about what I said about marketing, that it's a relationship. You're building relationships with people. I really think gone are the days of the ugh, secrets, 5 secrets, blah, 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 all long copy that's like flashy, funnels. It's all about this. It's about showing up and serving and being there for your community and building that out and really caring about people and being able to clearly be like, hey, I'm for you, I'm not for you, here's another resource, here's how you can get help. Ultimately, guys, what I stand for is I want to help women make money. And I want women to make money from a very empowered place where they feel like the fucking queen that they are, that they feel deserving and worthy. And when women make money, the world is a better place. It is safer for them, it is safer for all of us, because women naturally care about their community. And so I know every woman that I help and empower more goes out and helps and empowers more people. So that is what I'm about. And yes, I make great money doing it through my products and offerings, but I'm also here to do it through this, through DMs, through, conversations, through my newsletter, through this week I'm presenting in a Facebook group for single women on Wednesday night. So showing up and serving in the ways that I can. And that's the way I balance things out. People make a financial investment with me in my business, and that helps support my life, my business. And it also helps support me to show up here. All right, any last minute questions? Love to help you guys on anything related to this, related to ethics, transparency, marketing, sales, or operations. I'm going to let it sit for a second because I know there's a little bit of a delay from when I see things. I hope you're loving California. Graciela, I am right behind you. Can't wait. Can't wait to get some sun. All right. I know there's a bunch of you still here, so I'm just going to give it another second because I know that sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. I would love to help you. So if you have a question that you want to ask, lay it on me. Yeah. So in the meantime, I will also drop a little secret, even though I say I don't like secrets, but I have not put this out there publicly yet, but I am having a 3-day mindset experience at the beginning of January. I have not written the copy, guys, because I am not in the right energetic space to do it. And I'll write it as soon as I get to California. But it is planned, and it is really about empowering you to do a look back on 2020 and to create your vision and understand what's kind of within you that will stop you from executing on that vision with 100% passion and power that you have. And so it is called Magnify 2021, and it is a mindset experience. It's a journey that we're going to be going on over 3 days together at the beginning of January. So be on the lookout for that. I would love to have all of you there. It's a super, super accessible price point. It's $300 for the 3 days. It's literally like the cost of going to a great therapist or somebody like that. And really want you to come have this experience, because whenever I feel that we work on mindset, that is the thing that impacts everything else. There's nothing in your business that mindset doesn't touch. And you can try to put all the different strategies in and try to perfect everything, but your mindset's really running the show. It's the foundation to everything, and I want you to start off 2021 being in a place where you are up-leveling your mindset, you're aware of your own patterns, you can help yourself for the year to come, have really good clarity. Clarity is the key to everything. All right, it's great to talk through this and get your perspective for the future, because I've been through these as a client too. That's what Alyssa says. Yeah, I think we've all been through them on the other end, so just trying to leverage my experiences and the people that have come into discovery calls and kind of bring it more out into the open and have this be something that we're talking about. So I love that you guys have come. It means that you really believe in this as much as I do. I think this is going to benefit everyone. It's going to benefit yourself, your clients, the rest of the coaching industry or transformational industry, consulting, whatever you're in. And I know it's going to just allow you to run a better business where the energy is clean, you're in alignment, and that's going to open up the ability to make money. There's nothing unethical about making money. I want to make that point before I hop off. Yeah. Vanessa, what steps can one take to clarity? So I think clarity has to be about what you want, your own desires, trusting those your own desires. Clarity is about going in. So do not go out, do not look at what the competition is doing, don't scroll on Instagram, like all of that type of stuff is going to actually create distraction and confusion for you. So clarity is about like you aligning with a vision and then taking the next inspired step to creating that vision. So I would work on going in. Hope that's helpful. All right. And Vanessa, come to Mindset. Come to the Mindset experience. Magnify 2021. We will get you some clarity through the exercises we're going to do there. It's really meant to be an experience for you to connect with the other women and go through these exercises. We're going to be lots of breakout rooms, dancing, visualization. You guys know all my tools and my tricks, and so it's going to be a beautifully curated experience for 3 days to really help you go on an internal journey while being held in a community. All right. I'm going to sign off for now. I hope I see every one of you there and in this group. Let me know what your number one takeaway was before we jump out. Just drop it in the chat. Let me know what your number one thing is that you're going to do differently from here on out. Number one thing you're going to do differently, whether it's marketing, sales, or operations. And I thought I put my ringer off. All right, let me know. Drop it in the chat. If you guys watched on the replay, and if you watched to here, drop it in the chat what you're going to do differently. Hey, Terrian, I didn't know you were here. You guys are welcome. You're so welcome. Let me know what the key takeaway was. Let me know what you guys are doing differently. I gotta put this sweater on. It's not quite California yet. Jimmy Beth says she can use a shift in any of those areas. All right, awesome. Yeah, I think sometimes when we have like bad past experiences, it can cause us to not fully step into our power in the current discovery call or in the marketing. And just because that's happened to us doesn't mean that we have to do it the same exact way or we're going to create the same result to someone else. We have the choice to do it in a way that feels good for us, that feels aligned. And then what we do is we take our power back and we know that we're not like those other people. And because those other people exist is more of the reason why you need to step forward and take up space and let people know that you exist, because that is going to be helping to correct this unethicalness that's happening out there, is if the more ethical people actually show up. Yeah, feeling empowered by coming from a place of being truly heart-centered. Awesome. Going in to get the clarity. Awesome. All right, you guys are awesome. I will see some of you this week. So many of my clients here. Love it. See some of you tonight on the last call of the multiplier. And you know where to find me in the meantime if you need anything else. Bye, guys.